Take one.
Okay, guys. Team time, class 10 has changed a little bit. Morgan and Teresa really did the majority of this work. I just like talking, so helping Teresa out with this while Morgan's the junior counselors. It's really similar except the game is different. The message, the transformational leader bit is all the same. It's just the game that we're using to illustrate that has changed. It also will be inside now. It will be indoors in a classroom assigned to you on the teaching schedule, and there is a PowerPoint with this workshop now where there used to not be. It used to be just like the flip charts or using the handbook, and you could maybe do it outside under a tree. We're not going to do that anymore. It's a bit more structured like a class would be.
And we were hoping that by including this structure and updating the game, it kind of just drives that point of the team being more important than an individual person or that person's leadership position. So that's kind of what we're going to try to drive home. So yeah, it'll start off. We were trying to go through the best way to time out when one SC takes the 4 leaders that are already pre-identified. You know, you talk to your JCs as you always have. Make sure that you can pick out 2 that are going to be transformational leaders, 2 that are going to be transactional leaders, and then one SC is responsible for taking them out into the hallway and walking through their responsibilities. In the lesson plan on like the second page, I think, we've made a chart to kind of make it a little bit easier to follow as to who is responsible for what and what instructions you can give them. So open to feedback, but we hope that this kind of like levels that out. You can see like who will be doing what, and that first SC, we hope like right from the beginning so that it's you know, an easy transition, kind of like as things are getting started, you take them out of the room so it's not, you know, that obvious. You're explaining their position to them as like everyone's getting situated with the other SC in the room, and then if everything worked out in a perfect world, you'd be able to bring them back in and the class would get started. We understand sometimes they have a lot of questions, the 4 that are outside of the room, so take all the time you need. There is a buffer slide that we'll get to that the one SC in the room can walk out of the room and kind of give you that, okay, you need to bring them back in. So,
is this the buffer slide?
No, that's actually, the next slide is the buffer slide. So so the buffer slide is this. This will kind of be the SC in the room's Q's a good one. To go outside to tell the other SC like, all right, we're ready to get started. At this time, you'll see like in the lesson plan there, the SC in the room should be breaking them off into the 2 different teams. There's the team A and B, and then when they come in, the 2, I guess like transformational or positive, good leaders will be with the 1, and then the 2 transactional negative ones will be with the leaders, like always. But this will just kind of give everyone a chance to recollect and everything. What we're still trying to work out is we're handing out an index card. And that index card, they're going to have the chance to write down 3 positive characteristics that they find in a leader. So, yes, what we're still trying to work out the logistics of, and what us walking through that today will help us figure out is, should that come before this part? Should that come after? Should the 4 kids we pull out of the room be included in that activity? Is it not that important if they're included in it, as long as they're included in the reflection afterwards? So we're looking for your feedback on that portion of it. But that is included in the lesson plan. You can see that part there. But yeah, just moving through. Then we'd go through to the game off, yeah, and then we go right into the instructions of it all. So the next slide would have the instructions. You know, you read off, it tells you right in the lesson plan what you should say, what you keep to yourself and to keep note of, but don't actually read out loud.
That's in red and bolded, so if it's in red or bold on the lesson plan, don't say it out loud to the delegates.
we thought that keeping the rules up while they're playing will actually help rather than, you know, it's not giving anything away, it's not gonna lessen the game. It'll just keep structure where things otherwise got a little chaotic. They can reference this as they're kind of going through things. But Lou, do we want to go through the game now?
Okay. First of all, the good news is that you guys are not going to have to blow up any more balls from like 1998. And also, you're not going to have to worry about carrying boxes of equipment because basically we have 12 of these set up for you guys, which each contain golf balls and tees. So you'll be able to pick this up and it'll be able to be done in the room. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through the rules of the game, and I want to tell you what each of the what the instructions would be to the team leaders, so you can get a sort of a rationale for why, and then I want to actually have you guys play the game, okay? Because the best way to be able to do it is to do it, okay? So first of all, as they said, and this is great having this here, I think during the game. First of all, what will happen is, and these are the general directions that you would give everybody in the class, each team of workers will stand side by side and lock their arms together, okay? Just like that, all right? The person at each end of the line is going to get a golf ball and a tee, okay? So there'll be a golf ball and tee on one end of the line, or I'm not even going to use the word line, on one end, and a golf ball and a tee on the other end, okay? The ball has to be placed on the tee by one of the team leaders. The team workers are not allowed to touch the balls, okay? So the team leaders will do that. It's not as easy as it looks. At each end, all right? The task is to pass the golf balls from the ends toward the center, okay? And what happens is, all right, if a golf ball falls off the tee, then the tee and the golf ball have to go back to the person from which it started, okay? They score a point, because one of the things is it just a task when it ends, or do you score points? All right? The team scores a point when the two balls and tees cross each other, when they're like ships passing through the night. When they cross each other, that is a point, then they can go back and they can try for more if they have time. All right? And then how much time, that's really up to you guys. All right? If the ball falls, it's up to the team leader to pick up the ball and the tee to get it back, depending on how cooperative the team leader is. All right? The golf ball and tee must pass by / in front of team workers in the sequence that they're linked. Okay? But not every team worker has to touch it. So for example, if there are 3 team workers, all right, let's say that I'm passing it here, there is nothing wrong with me passing it directly.
Well, there is something wrong with this, but
okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me passing it by Michaela directly to Teresa as long as it goes in front of Michaela, okay? So it doesn't have to touch every single member.
Should we explain that to them?
No. Don't you let them figure it out?
No, we let them figure it out.
Okay.
Okay? There's a couple other things that we let them figure out, okay? First of all, one thing that you do not tell them and you let them figure out is that there is no rule that the tees have to cross in the center of the line, all right? If one side is going faster than the other, then, you know, a team that's truly working together and a team with transformational leadership, one side is helping out the other. So if the tees cross 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way, that's fine. Now the negative leader is not going to say that. Okay? The negative leader is going to force them to cross through the middle and criticize the one half that's slow for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Pick up the slack, do your job. A couple other things, just to go through the leader directions. Just like before, the positive transformational leader, have the team name, identity, sense of belonging, would you like to chant your team name, all of that. Okay? They will advise their team that the ball does not have to reach, the ball and tees do not have to reach the center of the line. Okay? That it's a team effort. If one side is having trouble, the other side can pick you up. We're all in this together. Together, everyone achieves more. Okay? If, again, transformational leader, if the team, if a worker drops the ball, the team leader will quickly retrieve it, get it back to the start, be encouraging. The line of the team workers should never be broken. The team leader is going to make sure of that. Okay, again, really helping and assisting their team. and being supportive to any requests that the workers bring up. Okay? By the way, this is first round I'm talking right now. As for the not so positive team leader, okay, tell them what their name is. No choice. Okay? And I think that's something that was done before. Okay? Careful, I don't need any complaints to investigate. It is what it is because you said so. Now, the negative team leader is going to tell the team that both the tees and balls have to cross at the center. Okay? If one side is not doing it, get working. Do your job. Okay? So, if the ball gets dropped, make them go get it. Make them break the line. Make them reconfigure the line. Just like before, the team leader was not helping the transformational group with the other stuff. Be overbearing, as usual. Okay, nothing new there. Dismiss any requests or needs. And again, this stuff is all in the lesson plan. And put pressure on the team to do it faster. What you will find when you try this is that it is not as easy as it looks. Okay. As a matter of fact, when we demoed this at BLT Saturday, we originally used ping pong balls and we abandoned it because ping pong balls are next to impossible to do this with. Okay. That's the first round. Now in the second round, okay, one thing that we found that works out pretty well and has a positive and strong message is that there is no rule that says that the teams have to be in a straight line. Okay? And this is something that my 7th and 8th graders stumbled onto at Brookline. Okay? So the positive team leader in the second round is going to encourage their team to make sort of a U, like a circular U, so that each team member can see each other and they can encourage each other. Okay? So team members facing inward. All right? It shows flexibility and trust from the leader, as well as the willingness to allow team leader members to recognize each other and build upon each other's contributions. As for the negative team, no way. As a matter of fact, if the negative team looks and they're insisting to form a U, the team leader could make them form a U, but instead of the team members facing inward, the team members would have to face outward. All right? And if they face outward, basically what they're saying is they're hampering communication between team members. They're disrupting that whole idea of being positive contributing because they basically can't see their team members, and causing them to rely on the leader for their direction and support, not each other, which is basically...
I also, when we were going through this on the phone, we thought about it, and telling them, yeah, you can go, but you have to look outward, that isn't well received. You can take the whole approach of, no, you have to stay in the line, and when they ask why, you say, we've always done it that way, you have to figure out how to do it in a line, you have to do it in a line, and that kind of, later on during the reflection part, it just kind of reflects leaders that won't adapt, keep things the same way. So that's another option.
Yeah, we sort of found that whole inward-outward thing, and it sort of fits in with the message of the class. Mm-hmm. And then round 3 is basically the same, except that's where the interventions would come in. Okay? And we did include some interventions in the lesson plan, but you might find others that may work better with this than with the old game. All right? So what I want to do, the best way to experience this is to experience it. So we need to break people into 2 teams, roughly. So maybe if we take... it looks like we got about the same number of people at these 4 tables, and these 3. So what we could do is if we could have you guys get up and form a couple of lines, all right? And do we have a couple of volunteers to be team leaders? Okay.
No, but I think this side,
We may have to even it out a little bit, so we may need a couple of people to bounce over here. Okay. And basically, you're going to lock in your arms, not like peace, more like. And I want you to experience it as the delegates will. So for the first round, it really should be a straight or a semi-straight line. Don't do the curve yet.
No curve.
So.
Straight team jerk.
And what we'll do, I guess Michaela will be the leader for this team, and Teresa will be the leader for that team. So I will give you 2 ping pong balls and 2 tees. Okay?
Are the leaders on the lines, or they're just?
The leaders are not on the lines. Okay? The leaders are not on the lines. And it may, I don't know whether you want to have 1 leader or 2 leader. We also toyed around with doing 3 groups. But with the number of people that would be in these classes and the size of the space, okay? But now, once again, what you would do, okay, is when we tell you to start, okay, and again, the chain has to stay linked, all right? What you would do is you would pass it using your hands, okay? And again, like for example, if Alex wanted to pass it directly to Ryan, he could bypassing Craig. But now, if the ball falls off the tee, it goes back to Alex, okay? You guys can still keep passing it if the ball falls off the tee on this side. Now, for the purpose of just so you can see the experience on each side, we're going to need one of you guys to be positive and one of you guys to be negative.
I'll be positive.
Okay. So Teresa is going to be our positive transformational leader. And Michaela is going to be our negative transactional leader.
The balls have to cross. They can't like frog each other.
No.
Big frog each other.
No, and
Right?
the team scores point when the balls on the tees cross each
They
other.
can't leapfrog each other.
No,
That is not a point.
they have to cross.
Okay. That would cross technically.
They have to cross, and the ball has to be on the team when they do it. So you can't just like throw it. All right. You guys think you're ready for this?
I don't think anyone do this.
Now keep in mind that we may be more or maybe less coordinated than delegates on their last day. All right.
Alright.
Ready? Go.
Pull it out.
Slow and steady, slow and steady. You're doing great.
Come on, Helen. Second person, really? Right?
Slow and steady, you're doing great, you're doing great.
Harry, you guys are
You can do, oh wait, no, Phyllis, you can't touch, you have to put it, it's trying to be hard.
There in a minute. Oh my gosh. So you could just stop complaining for 1 second.
Where's your positivity hat, Michaela? Did you forget it at home? Wait, that's how I did it.
Was it your phone?
Mikhail, does the leader have to grab it?
Any slower. Any slower. Hey, stay for Hey, he quit. That's not fair. Oh, no, we have a quitter.
Are you passing it to Ken? Are you passing? You might be there? Okay, wait a minute.
You guys aren't crossing arms.
No, because we have to stay.
Nice.
Very good.
Finally, it took long enough. Do you think we'll mess it up here at the end? Grab 2 hands, use them. Oh, come on in.
That's a point if they cross.
Alright, do it again faster this time.
Although as a negative leader, you want to be really forcing them to do it in the center. You want to be getting on these guys. Because why is it here?
I'm just the body
Look how
here.
good they are.
So now that they're gotten a point,
Yeah.
It goes back in the outside ring triangle.
you have to pass it back. You don't have to pass it back all the way back.
We should get a point for
I know. This is a fun game. Like a lot of I can't find my
Keep it right here.
Now the negative team leader would be all over you guys.
You guys are doing great.
Because look how great they're doing and what's this.
Great work, team.
But positive teamwork.
We got it.
Right there.
They cross. Once they cross, that's a point.
Okay, now this is now
Hold on.
So can we just cross back and forth?
Yeah, move on. It'll start at this end. Just have to go
Okay,
all the way to the end.
what happens now is the T's would go to either end.
So I can just take. Oh, they just started the end.
Okay, time.
Okay.
How many points?
They got one.
Now, couple of comments that came up, okay? First of all, the balls have to be passed along the line. In other words, they have to pass by each team member. So these guys were getting creative here. That's because we're all SCs. They were getting creative and trying to curl the line to like just walk it. No, you can't do that. Okay?
Oh, you could
You can't do that. The balls have to pass. The balls have to pass by.
But you don't have to touch, like, she was going to hit.
Right, but the balls have to pass by the front of each team member. So, yes, you can skip, like Dana can skip Kellen and go to Carl by passing it in front of Kellen. But what you guys can't do is just curve around and say, well, okay, I'm just going to...
Okay, and then Kellen would fall, you can't do that.
Can't do that. Okay? Now...
we can curve to make it easier for them.
Right.
Okay, now, negative team, your team leader is not going to let you do that.
Yep, she's not.
You know this game.
Now, the other thing is... The negative team leader, if one side is way outperforming the other, the negative team leader is going to jump on that, okay? Because the ball was over here at some point. It's like, wow, they're doing a great job. What the hell is your problem? I mean, basically.
Wow, yeah.
What the heck is
Hockey's
Ken?
It was in the training form. Training video. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now, in the second round, what's going to happen is that the team leaders are going to, the positive team leader is going to advise the team to make that U, okay? The negative team leader, no way. I mean, basically, you're berating them and saying, you know what, do your job like you're supposed to in that line. If they try to form a U, they've got to face outward. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what though, in the other time, what's interesting is that then there's no in the absence of a good leader, a vacuum, right? And one of the things that I always brought up with my person was that somebody takes over, and we're going to ignore her, and we're going to do what's good for the team.
Yeah, well,
Right, that does happen. Yes, it does. Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes. So now.
So we know.
I would say if that happens, let it happen. I mean, it's a teachable moment.
Yeah, right, and now it's in absence, then you see who the real leader of the group.
Well, then don't you just remove that, the person who becomes the leader isn't one of the interventions that you remove the person who's become the
You
leader?
could. That's
Yeah, in the third round, yeah.
That's really good. Well, I'd like to see that
That's a good
develop.
point.
I like it, yeah, like in the third round, because I like when that comes up and then you get
Take
rid of
it out.
You like, hey, I just need you, Lou needs you in the hallway, like something like.
Right.
Are those gonna be the interventions in the third?
That's third round's interventions. So maybe, now let me ask you this, because, I mean, you guys are the ones teaching it, is if that happens in the second round, if somebody tries to take over, does the negative leader squash that in round 2, and then in
She
round...
tries to.
She tries to, and then in round 3, let it
It's just an
happen.
uprising, we forget about you.
And then
We start
embrace the coup. Yeah.
Okay.
Come to the coup.
Yeah, I would say, and again, it's up to you guys, but my recommendation would
Only
be,
because
let
you'll
it happen
have,
in round 3.
well, because you'll have that transactional leader, but then you'll have a transformational leader come through the ranks.
Or another transaction.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Did you guys hear the discussion over here?
A little,
Okay.
I guess I'm a bit over there, but.
What the discussion was is what happens, and like you guys are the positive team, so this would never happen with Teresa as your leader. But what happens if the negative team, if somebody tries to rise up and overthrow, okay? In other words, if there's a coup going on, okay? Well, in the first round, they're basically learning the game, they're playing it the first time. In the second round, they might be starting to get ticked off, and the negative leader should squash it. In the third round, let it happen. Because there's lessons in there. Let it happen. There's all kinds of interventions going on as well, and perhaps an intervention is that that person takes over, and that just proves what that transactional negative leader is, and who is the real leader here. based on that. So that would be my recommendation. Now, obviously, when you're teaching, you may find a different teachable moment, and I would embrace that. But I could see that coming up. So let's try it second round. Okay, you guys should form a curve.
Straight line.
You guys, straight line.
I think we.
Hey, that's round 3.
Is that gonna be
Sharpen the knives in this round.
Why can't you
Use them
do
for
this?
next round.
Close enough for I'm allowed to pass it.
Wait, let's
So I can just go like that?
No, so has to pass in front of each member. But now you're seeing each other, you can encourage each other, which they really
They're
can.
doing a circle. Goodbye.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, you guys can go ahead.
Go team go. Go team go.
You guys are crazy. I love your teamwork.
Yeah, Ken. You got it, Ken. You did great. I don't think so. Good job, Ken. We're proud of you. I don't think so. Come on, Kat. Go, Kat.
That's a really nice touch.
How do you crisscross?
Why are you guys so much
Oh my
slower
gosh,
than that?
you're so loud. Now how do you do? I want to see if you really do.
Yeah, we're not doing this here.
I want to
We're
see this
at
part right
right?
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, wait.
Oh, you can do it.
Oh, take that one to the booth.
That was close enough.
Referee waves at us.
It's a good thing there was a game plan. Oh, you guys did it too. That's all right. You got it.
Just skip it.
They have like 14 points for today.
That was your great method, but honestly, no one else could see it. She didn't want to be here. So that we knew you were doing your thing. Right here.
Just cross it. Just cross it. Oh, once they cross it.
14! 15!
All right, come on, bro.
I think it was 4-1. Now guys, one variation I've seen with this, and I leave it to your discretion, is I've seen this done where if one ball falls, they both have to go back. Now, whether that's something you would want to think about or not, I leave it to you. But I have seen that, I've seen that variation. Now in round 3, basically it's the same idea as round 2, but this is where the interventions come in. Okay, and there's a variety of interventions. You guys may come up with additional interventions that we want to get in the lesson plan. And if there's a coup brewing, round 3 would be the time to...
Well, it's music and we.
Do you guys have any questions, comments?
Do you want to do the third one?
It's up to you guys.
I feel like my team needs it.
It's 2:55.
So here's
I'd rather just.
we have to pass it with
You guys have the idea? Okay. All right. Yep.
Nice job, everybody.
Geez, this is an important time to bring up that the transactional leaders were playing a role. Sometimes I think it gets a little personal, so, you know, make sure you acknowledge that they're actually not bad leaders.
Can we hug at the end? If it's welcome, then yes. And yeah, then you'll hit the 4 different types. So you have transactional, transformational, delegating, micro managing. Walk through these, you know, how did you see these in the game? And then this is also where we'll kind of start to refocus it, not on the game and on, you know, their own life. When do you see this in your student council, on your team, at home, really, anything? This is when you kind of start that discussion and start to get away from the game.
Yeah, driving the point that everyone played a role in this game. That's kind of a part I think it's always been a part of it, but now there's a new video at the end that kind of drives home the message of teamwork, and that in teamwork there's roles and responsibilities. That most time in your life you're going to be, or if you're at LTC, you're a leader, right? So you're here because of student council or National Honor Society, of whatever it is, you're a leader in that capacity. But there's probably a lot of other roles in your life where you're maybe not the leader. Maybe you're a follower or a worker or a micromanager or whatever it may be.
And there is a good list in the lesson plan. It really breaks it down. Like, are you a brother? Are you a bystander? There's a lot of examples, and I think rattling those off can get that conversation to where they're not just thinking like, I'm here with student council because I'm the president. They'll start to think like, what else am I? I'm not just this one thing.
And then, should we...
And then, yeah.
The video?
This is
This is the Wolfpack video.
Insane fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically with the PowerPoints,
The first three
the first
words
slide
are
is a
safe,
free
and they-
slide. When you advance to the second slide, that automatically plays the video.
What we will say about the Wolfpack video, pay attention right now to the
Content.
subtitles. Yes,
Content
pay attention to
of
the
the video.
content. We have tried very hard to find one that is a little bit better, and we've had a hard time. We're hoping to do a voiceover in time for LTC to make it a little bit less monotone.
Auditions will be held in
Yeah,
the
so
room right below this.
if anyone has those skills or any, other resources, let us know. But the overall message fits in perfectly. So for now, we're gonna use this.
Is at the pace to the entire pack. If it were the other way round, they would be left behind, losing contact with the pack.
So the sick old wolves are at the front.
In case of an ambush, they would be sacrificed after the become five strong ones, the front line. In the center are the rest of the pack members, then the five strongest following.
Video needs work.
Some great pictures though.
They control message from the rear.
This is it.
From that position, he can see everything and decide on the direction. He sees all of the pack. The pack moves according to the elders' pace and help each other, watch each other.
So working on improving that, we already know.
But you get the general theme.
Yes, and the whole point from this video is that you have the conversation of the different roles and how, the alpha isn't always leading the pack. They might be in the back, kind of helping to make sure everything goes along smoothly. It's just that, how do different people with different needs, with different strengths and weaknesses work together in that pack. So it's all that, helping the group to succeed more than just one individual person. It's not just about the leader, it's about everyone. It's kind of where we're hoping to go with that video.
So one of the other things that came up at education committee meeting regarding this class was the fact that a lot of times our message of what this class was supposed to, or workshop is supposed to be about, kind of got lost in the foolery of the games and the balls and the shuttlecocks. So this is really kind of our one chance to leave our lasting impression in terms of really what our main goals and messages are from LTC in terms of leadership and all of that. So this is supposed to now kind of be that more all-encompassing, like, let's end on a good note with a strong message, because everybody at this point is completely fried too. So we felt that by changing and making a couple more things a little bit more obvious, but also really wrapping it up more inclusively was beneficial.
Mm-hmm. And this quote kind of just goes along with the rest of the theme. If time permits, feel free to discuss, get some, reflections and things. But to what Senti was saying, it's like more or less included in the wrap-up, kind of seeing what previous workshops help when dealing, so kind of tying everything in together, as she said, leaving that lasting impression. So bringing it all together is something new to this. It's always kind of just been the game, and then it's fun, and then we walk away, but really want to drive in how this all does tie together. So included that here. I think it should be the same in the lesson plan too. The questions are listed there as well. And then it's evaluations. Next slide.
Good job.
Yeah.
I have a question. So the index card in the beginning that they're writing the 3 characteristics down, I know they evaluate on the index card, correct? Like one of the index cards, or they have an actual sheet?
They have their evaluation.
It should be in the binder.
For this, did we include it for this class?
to be in the, yes.
Yeah.
So is the index card for that necessary?
Yeah, 1 through 11.
It can't just be a discussion, because the leaders are gonna be outside anyway, like, they have to write it down, but what's the purpose? You know,
I
can't we
think
just like, ask them to share?
I don't have the lesson plan in front of me, so this is a fault to me, but I think somewhere in there on one of these slides, it has where after when we went through like all the different, they write down the 3 characteristics. On one of the slides, there's a chance, and it's all kind of time permitting because the game, you know, you want to keep to the limit, but, you know, but there's a portion in here where you can take the cards and read off a bunch of those and then reflect on if those characteristics were, I think it's on the like transactional, transformational, maybe that slide. I have to go through it, but it gives you a chance where you can collect the cards and read off those characteristics and kind of just talk through who exemplified these, who didn't, what kind of leader has these characteristics, who doesn't. It is in here, I just failed to do it up here. So thank you for bringing that up.
So sorry, I just.
No, I'm sorry, that was great, thank you. Yeah.
Could we save the plan and perhaps write them on the board or the flip chart that's already in the classroom rather than hand out index cards?
Or their binders.
Yeah, I think the binders probably, I think it was just wanted to be like a reflection thing. But yeah, the binders would probably work.
The notes page.
Find a page, yeah.
Okay.
Rather than the index card.
Any other questions or feedback?
I have 2 quick unrelated things. First of all, before you go, if you have not handed in your index card evaluation for us, please do so. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you coming here today. I think this is a very valuable day. Thank you to everybody that took an active role in either revising the plans, updating the plans, the PowerPoints, and helping to facilitate this, Sue especially. I have a quick question for you. There was a young man who was a delegate last year who could not write. Does anybody remember his name?
Press would know.